In many parts of the world, people are celebrating Saint Valentine's Day. It is a day that for a couple hundred years, people have exchanged their affection for one another. I was given a report that last year over 1 billion Valentines were exchanged. That means they were bought and given to dear ones. Of all days of the year, it's the second in the purchasing of cards for the particular event. Who was Saint Valentine? There is very little known about him, but a few things are known. He was a priest in Rome. This day is named after him, where people are sending hearts and candies and gifts to their loved ones, celebrated as a day of romance. But Saint Valentine's was a priest. He lived a life of total celibacy. And he sacrificed himself for the well-being of others. In fact, February 14th marks the day when the king of Rome, Claudius, tortured him and cut his head off. Happy Valentine's Day. That's love. He was willing to get his head chopped off and get tortured gladly to help other people to love God. It's nice if people understand a little of the history of what they're doing. What is real love? Real love is sacrifice. Real love is seva, selfless service. Because that's our true nature. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, every story there is a narration of pure selfless love. Love for God. The Bhagavatam itself says, when you water the root of the tree, that water extends to every part of the tree. And similarly, when we love Krishna, Lord Hari, who has many names, that love naturally extends to everyone. Valentine's Day, from a spiritual perspective, is to try to become saintly by following in the footsteps of saints, by learning to see the spiritual essence, the goodness within our own hearts, through living a pure life, through chanting the names of the Lord, and through seva, and learning to see that potential in our family members, in our society, as far as possible in everyone. And this is something that every one of us in a big or small way can do. Our purpose is to love God and to love each other unconditionally. Thank you very much.
साधना स्वामी महाराज की जय। हम कंटिन्यू करवा बुक। ओम अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनं शलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूप गदामह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम्। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौरभक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। On chapter 4, page number 51 to 45 to 47. स्टार्ट करिए। एक बार so Prabhupada question, we should be careful not to tell anybody or everybody as God. Whoever claims that I am God, Prabhupada, he is not a God, but he is actually a dog. In understanding God, we must be very careful to accept the Vedic conclusion only. Natasya karyam karanam cha vidyate. God has nothing to do. Why should God have to do something to become God? If we manufacture gold, that is artificial gold, not real gold. Gold is natural, and similarly God is natural. In his childhood pastimes, the lap of his mother, he is God. While he is playing with his boyfriends, he is God. While he is dancing, he is God. While he is fighting at Kurukshetra, he is God. While he is married to his queens, he is God. And while he is speaking, he is God. There is no difficulty in understanding God. All that is required for us is that we listen to, required for us that we listen to Krishna. So more important thing, Prabhupada is saying that here, that like gold never became gold. It is always gold. If something becomes gold, that means it is not original. Like we take a silver utensil and color it gold color. That does not mean it became gold. So similarly, God did not have to become God. He is always the God. Not the God, he is God himself. He did not have to do some austerities or tapasya and then he becomes God. No. In Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, this is the most important sloka of Bhagavad Gita. We should try to memorize it. Very easy sloka, and the first sloka of Chatusloki Bhagavad Gita is 10.8, first Chatusloki Bhagavad Gita verse. Aham sarvasya prabhavo matta sarvam pravartate iti matta bhajante mam buddha bhav samannita. I am the source of everything, and from me the entire creation flows. Knowing this, the wise worship me with all their hearts. Aham sarvasya prabhavo, it is clear. Here Krishna is clearly saying that I am the source of everything, or everything comes from me only. Every matta sarvam pravartate. Again he clarifies. It's not just that I am the source, but again he's repeating the same thing, that everything, I am the source of everything plus matta sarvam pravartate. And from me only everything has been created. I am source and I am the creation. Iti matta bhajantema. The wise person knows this and worships. And who is that wise person? Or anybody who worships, knowing this, is called a Buddha or intelligent. This means that Sri Krishna is the fountainhead of Lord Shiva and the origin of Vishnu and of Brahma. So Krishna is above all. And of course, all other demigods and other living creatures. He says further, Mama eva ansa jiva loke jiva bhuta sanatana manosasthanindriyani prakriti stani karshati. This is also another important sloka where Prabhupada translates, the living entities in this conditional world are my fragmental parts and they are eternal. But due to conditioned life, they are struggling very hard with the six senses, which includes the mind. So what are the living entities in this world? They are all my parts. And yet they are eternal. This is not possible in material sense. Like Srila Prabhupada explains in a lecture that suppose we have a piece of paper and that paper, if we cut it, so this is the paper. Now if I tear this portion, I tear another portion, I tear another portion. So after we tear each and every portion in this paper, we tear and we give it to one, we give it to another person, so we give it to another person. So nobody has the same size piece of paper as this. Everybody gets only a part. Nobody can get the full. So same example here, like even after the creation of the living entities, if after creation of living entities, the potency of Lord decreases, then he is not the God, not the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Actually, he remains same. Prabhupada will say in subsequent verses that he is Purna all the time. Like one clip we were hearing from His Holiness Bhakti Charu Maharaj last Saturday, Maharaj was telling that the infinite is something which is unexplainable. We cannot calculate also. But that infinite, if we subtract something from infinite, it will remain infinite. Even if infinite minus infinite is not zero, it is also infinite. So same way we can understand that even after the creation of the living entities, or even after the living entities who are fragmental parts, still Krishna remains God. And these fragmental parts which are parts of Krishna, they are also eternal. But due to our conditioned life, we are struggling very hard with the six senses, which include the mind. Mind is also included in one of the senses. Prakriti sthani karshati. Manasasthani indriyani prakriti sthani karshati. And Brahma also explains, Lord Brahma in the Brahma Samhita, Premanjana churita bhakti vilochanena Santa sadeva hridayeshu vilokayanti Jam sama sundaramachinta guna sarupam Govindam adipurusam tamaham bhajami. Here in this is a very important sloka in the Brahma Samhita. Here it is said that I worship Govinda, who is the primeval Lord, Adipurush. He is Adipurush and he is the Samsundar. He is Samsundar, Lord Krishna himself. And he has inconceivable, innumerable attributes whom the pure devotees see in their heart of hearts. Premanjana churita bhakti vilochanana. Santa sadeva hridayeshu vilochanana. One who is a sadhu or the pure devotees of Krishna, they see Krishna in their heart. and they offer their love of devotion to Krishna present in their heart. So this is Krishna or Govinda, who is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So there are similar descriptions everywhere in Vedic literature. But rascals and demons are so obstinate that even though Krishna is confirmed to be the Supreme God by the 12 standard acharyas, Bhishma, Narada, Brahma, Shiva, Vishma, the Kumaras, Kapila, Manu, etc. And by Vyash, Devala, and many other devotees still refused to accept it. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also confirms that Krishna is the Supreme Godhead. And the Srimad Bhagavatam says, Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam. So similar description, Prabhupada says, is also given in all the Vedic literatures. Actually, those who are fools and rascals and demons, Prabhupada is saying that they are so obstinate that Krishna is Supreme Personality of Godhead, even though they know it, even though the whole world knows by the authority of the 12 Mahajans or standard acharyas, still they won't accept. They take some of our, and by Vyasa, Devala, and many other devotees, and they still refuse. Even though we have so much of proofs, still they refuse, these fools. Then Prabhupada is saying, but actually Lord Chaitanya is Krishna himself. And Srimad Bhagavatam only confirms it. He may not know it, but we know it. Krishnastu Bhagavan Sir. The Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself confirms that Krishna is the personality of God. And Srimad Bhagavatam also confirms that Krishna is the personality of God. And Srimad Bhagavatam will find a list of incarnations of God. And at last concludes that the name Krishna, which appears on this list, indicates the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Whereas all other names represent manifestations or incarnations. So, Ete Chansa Kala Punsa. All other names of God are either parts of God or portions of parts. Kala Punsa. So, if we try to understand this very simple way, we can understand from infinite. If we take out another infinite, will still remain infinite. And if these avatars, if they, after finishing their pastimes, if they again enter into Krishna's body, still they will remain infinite. Infinite plus infinite is infinite. Infinite minus infinite is also infinite. And in that connection, one more thing we can know. We can note that this thing, how if somebody asks, this is one proof that Te Chansa Kalapunsa Krishnastu Bhagavansa, Srimad Bhagavatam states. Another Odia devotees, we can tell them that according to Geet Govind or according to Jaidev Goswami, because everybody accepts Jaidev Goswami as a dear devotee of Lord Jagannath and Krishna's pure devotee. So in that way, the stotra, the Dasavatar stotra, which he has written, there what he says, Kesavadita Meena Sarira, Jai Jagadis Hare. Keshavadita Kachapa Rupa, Jai Jagadis Hare. Keshavadita Varaha Rupa, Jai Jagadis Hare. Keshavadita Narahari Rupa, Jai Jagadis Hare, Vamana Rupa. So in this way, everywhere it is written Keshava. Kesava has now taken the form of Meena. Kesava has taken the form of Balaram. Keshava has taken the form of Nasingha. So like that, all the avatars are made. So in that way, we can understand that Krishna is the only personality of God. And all other avatars are also his parts and parcels or parts, it is fragmental parts. So that's what is being said here. Ansa or portions of portions, kala. Kala. Ete cha amsa kala pumsa. That's what. As living entities, we are ansa. But we are all very fragmental Ansa. All other are either Ansa or Kala. So we are also part, but we are very tiny, negligible size. But we are there. And elsewhere, Prabhupada explains that what is the size of the soul. So he's saying all others are neither Ansa nor Kala, but Krishna is Bhagavan Swayam. So the living entities are Ansa because they are very small. But although all others are either Ansa or Kala, but Krishna is Bhagavan. Like that paper example, even though we take out small papers who are representing jivas, still the paper remains. You think just you tear a paper and the same paper remains for all time. So like that is an example by which you can understand Krishna is the Supreme Personality of God. And our prayers should be directed to Supreme Personality of Godhead and none else. So that's why if Krishna is Supreme Personality of Godhead, we have to direct our prayers to whom? To Krishna. Therefore we pray with Brahma. Like whatever Brahma is praying, because he's a devotee. So Brahma is offering these prayers to Lord Krishna. With this we can end. Chintamani prakara satma sukalpa vriksha lakshavite shashuravi ravipadayattam Lakshmi sahasra sata sambrahma se pramanam govindam adipurusam tamaham bhajami. Saying, I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, the Adipurush, or who is the first progenitor, who is tending the cows, fulfilling all desires. Kalpa Vriksha. There are Kalpa Vriksha. And that is bedecked with Lakshavite Suravi Ravipala. Chintamani. It is Chintamani. In abodes built with spiritual gems, surrounded by millions and millions of wishful entities, Kalpa Vriksha. So that place is, this is the description of Vrindavan actually. And that place is filled with so many Kalpa Vriksha. And always served with great reverence and affection by hundreds of thousands of Lakshmis or Gopis. So such Govinda, who is the first progenitor or who is tending the cows. So he is surrounded by millions of Kalpa Vriksha also in that place. That is Lord's abode. And always served by many Lakshmis or Gopis. So I offer my obeisances to that Lord. Hare Krishna. So like this, Prabhupada will explain in more detail subsequently that how Krishna is God and how Krishna remains God even after all the incarnations come out from him. Even after we all jivas are his parts and parcels, still Krishna remains the Supreme Personality of God. But in our case, if we have something, then if we give something to another person, then we don't have that thing anymore. That is material. But in spiritual case, if we have something and we give something to others, then that thing which we have remains intact. The same applies to knowledge. When we have some spiritual knowledge, and if we give that spiritual knowledge to our near and dear ones, our relatives, our friends, anybody, and then we actually keep that knowledge intact within us if we give it to others. So that's why we should be clear that how if Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, by worshipping Krishna, actually we can worship all the incarnations. That's why in ISKCON temples, we have Krishna's Murti or Krishna's Vigraha all over. Krishna and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Jagannath, they are all same. So mostly we'll find Krishna's feet. Somewhere we'll find Ramchandra because their people are more attracted to Ramchandra. That's why they keep Ramchandra Vigraha. otherwise Krishna only. So this example one devotee was saying, long back I heard that if somebody, suppose I want to worship Lord Shiva, and another person, suppose Chinmay Prabhu, he wants to worship Krishna. How in Krishna's worship, Lord Shiva's worship is also there. So how to understand that? That we can say in this way, that suppose I have a 2000 rupees note, and if somebody says, do you have 5000 rupees? What will I say? Will I say, I don't have? I have a 2000 rupees note. Somebody says, do you have 500 rupees? I say, yes, I have. If somebody asks, do you have 20 rupees? Do you have 100 rupees? Do you have 10 rupees? Do you have 5 rupees? Do you have 1 rupee? What will I say? I say yes. So in that sense, I have a 2000 rupees note, but actually, and that includes everything. If somebody asks for 1, 2, 10, 5, 100, 200, we can give from that. So that's why if somebody worships Krishna, then his worship is actually complete. He need not worship any other incarnation anymore. But still we offer our respects because they are all Vishnu Tattvas and they are all expansions of the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna. Not just avatar. We also offer our respects to the demigods and to the Vaishnavas and to all the living entities also. Everywhere, wherever we see Krishna, we offer respect. That is Vaishnava philosophy. Hare Krishna, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gaur Bhakta ki jai. Yeah, that is Sukara Rupa. Hare Krishna. Okay, you want to add or tell some corrections? Okay, so
everything okay.
कौन? Okay, किस कौन है ना?
No, everything is okay.
Oh, okay, हाँ, ठीक है.
No, everything okay.
बहुत धन्यवाद. जय श्री प्रभुपाद की जय. गौर भक्त की